One of the main reasons I'm talking is to talk about how the poor little hemp plant has been getting a bad rap for hundreds of years. And when people began to separate into upper classes and most classes, most of the people, like lords and serfs, aristocrats, and, worker bees, then the peasants were known to have their own crude hempen homespun. Hempen means made of hemp. And hemp in this case is what's often referred to as true hemp, because many, many plants, 50 or more, have hemp in their common name because they're trying to become true hemp. It's a hint that they make pretty good fiber. So there's a lot of confusion with what hemp is. But when you talk about true hemp, cannabis sativa, and maybe cannabis indica, probably, then that is the true hemp of old, and that's the illegal one in this country. But that's also the most dominant fiber in ancient times, along with flax, in terms of cultivated fiber. Now, hemp is a weed, flax is much more sophisticated. And so if you were an aristocrat, you wanted your clothes made out of fine linen, which people assumed to be flax, because only peasants wore hemp. So no aristocrat wanted to be associated with hemp. And so the great bulk of the population ran around with crude, by probably our standards, crudely made hempen homespun material. And they probably didn't have underwear on. And the earliest meaning of linen is actually underwear. So if you've got underwear, it's probably linen. At least you would assume it was flax. And in Shakespeare's play, Midsummer Night's Dream, there's a great saying. It tells a lot about what I'm trying to say here. And that's, okay, remember, hempen means made of hemp. What hempen homespuns have we swaggering here? So just picture what we might call juvenile delinquents or undesirable youth swaggering around. And there are other quotations of Shakespeare saying, these youths should be breaking hemp. There was a huge need in England at the time for more hemp fiber. So there's big strike one against hemp, giving it a bad name. That's what peasants wear. If you've got it made, you've got any status at all, you have linen, flax clothing, and finely woven, not crude hempen homespun. Strike two comes where, by the early 1800s, as illustrated by this quote from Sir Walter Scott, he's a famous writer, late 1700s, early 1800s. Sir Walter Scott is the first literary use of this word that the Oxford knows of, and it's, the main character says, "Give me that book, you little hempy." What did that mean? He called a little kid a hempy. Well, another name for hemp rope, and by the way, hemp was the main rope material, was gallows grass. Hemp rope was called gallows grass. Ha, ha, ha. Hanging is a big public spectacle. Everybody gathers around to see the people hanged. And you bring your kids, and you go, if you don't quit acting like that, then you could be a hempie. That means you're bound for the gallows if you're a bad kid. And still later than that, hempie began to mean more like an undesirable character, street person. Same kind of idea, you know, somebody that's very possibly a candidate for the gallows would be a wild hempie. And this is a saying I use on my t-shirt, is he had gathered together 7 or 8 wild hempies, stout and strong. 7 or 8 wild hempies, stout and strong. It's like a gang. So that's where that meaning comes from. So that's strike 2.